Alright, so here doing a review on the Happy Trails Tougher Than Hell skid plate. This is for a 2015 KLR that I've got, and with SW crash bars. So the biggest thing was I could never find a review on the skid plate that was compatible with the SW bars. So, you know, everything else I looked at, you know, best protection you can have around the side of the engine, you know, so I thought, you know, can't really go wrong. This is one they sent me. Not quite as much protection as I was hoping for. Bottom plate is really sturdy though. I think for the Tougher Than Hell version of it, they weld an extra 1/8 inch plate onto the bottom. So we got about a 1/4 inch thick aluminum here as compared to, you know, 1/8 inch on the sides. Now if you look down here, this is my buddy's 2009 KLR, and he's got the Happy Trail skid plate as well. As you can see here, you can't really see from the camera angle, but it covers up to the top of the water pump, which is a big deal for me because, you know, I took a spill and ended up losing all my coolant out of the water pump, which is a story for another day. But anyways, so you can see the comparison here, kind of.
I'll move the camera.
They've got about 6 inches more protection on the sides than they do with the SW bars, and you know, part of it is just because of the shape of the bars. It covers a little bit of that extra room, but you still got a lot of room to get, you know, rocks or whatever in there and take out the side of your engine. So yeah, that's kind of the review. I also had some issues mounting it. My SW bars, if you look over on this one, they are the clamp-on style on the frame. And supposedly these are supposed to work with either this style or the one that mounts to the foot pegs here. But I had some issues with the lower clearances of the clamps. The skid plate runs into it and you can't suck the bolts tight with the stock hardware that they send you. So I ended up picking up some spacers. I was gonna run in between the skid plate and the frame. And I also picked up some longer bolts to see if that would help at all. So we're gonna try and do the install there. So this is gonna be the second time that I put the plate on, and hopefully it works out a little better. I spent the extra money and got the impact kit. Basically it's just a big, real dense foam pad and then some little adhesive backed pads here to kind of buffer the frame and the skid plate. So since I'm running spacers, I'm not sure how much this impact kit is gonna do. It's designed just to fit in here, and you know, it'll just be friction is the only thing that's holding it on there. So with those spacers, I don't know if it's gonna be too much space where this will just slide around. I don't know if I'm gonna end up using this, but we'll see. All right, so it came with the engine mounts, some aftermarket ones here. You get rid of those, you know, flimsy little ones for the stock skid plate. So this is the second time I've installed it, so I don't want to take the crash bars off again. So you can kind of look in here and see the bracket that you've got to install. Pretty easy, you just pull these 2 bolts and the one going to the motor. One thing I will say, I waited 2 weeks for this kit to come in. When I got the brackets, one of the holes wasn't even drilled out, so I was a little upset about that. I mean, it wasn't a big deal, I had to drill it out myself, but just something I think the company could do better with quality control wise. Again, not a big deal, but I kind of expected more, paying $300 for this and the center stand. Center stand, you know, works great, bolted on just fine. My only issue is with the skid plate. But, so, this mounts up. You just get a U-bolt with the kit. That wraps around there, throw a spacer in. Okay. Oh, it's got some, got the hardware here, just some nylock nuts that are gonna go on there. So, a little tricky sometimes to get it lined up, especially if just one person, but
okay.
I can get her. Anyways, those poke through. Get your washer and your nut on there. Thank you, Kevin. Okay. Okay, so just kind of do those finger tight. You know, it'll hold it up well enough.
Your sizes.
Yeah, so this is gonna be a 13 millimeter wrench. That's pretty much all you need for the entire thing. Let's drop it down a little bit. And then we're gonna throw this plate in there. The instructions come with how it goes on there. We'll see how well it works. So then we're gonna put these spacers in there. These are 1/2 inch tall spacers, 1/4 inch inside diameter. And hopefully that. So we're just gonna kind of toss it in on this side. It comes with these clamps that fit over the frame. It comes with 4 of these, but if you've got the clamp-on style crash bars, you're only gonna use 1. So these are just gonna fit on top of the frame there. Kind of fold down, then I'm gonna take the longer bolts. I'm gonna throw some anti-seize on there. Just because these are out in the elements all the time. I preferred if they didn't lock on. These clamps have a lock nut that's welded onto it, so really you don't need some Loctite. I mean, if you want to put it on there, you can, but I'm not overly worried about it with those lock nuts on the end. Okay, so that's on. Okay, now we've got everything kind of finger tight. We're gonna set this in tight against the frame on the bottom here and try and center the front of this, get this tightened up, and then we'll worry about the back. All right, so we got everything bolted up nice and tight. That impact kit, the rubber pad in there, it ended up fitting in there nice and tight, so that might be worth the money if you're wanting to give yourself a little bit of cushion so you're not just metal on metal if you actually do hit something. It's like 30 bucks for the upgrade kit. I mean, it might be worth it. We'll see. Next time I hit a big rock or log, I mean, that might save me, it might not, so we'll find out. The only issue I have with it right now, I mean, other than having to kind of modify all the hardware, maybe I'll send an email to Happy Trails, I'll send them a link to this video or something, just kind of seeing the issues that I had with it. And I mean, I don't know, maybe I'm just a dumbass and did it, away from the instructions that they gave, but I don't know. Anyways, the only issues I have with it right now is up here. I mean, that's kind of a lot of open area. I mean, I don't know. You could kick up a rock, hit into your case. So Happy Trails makes an upper engine guard with highway pegs on it. Supposedly it's not compatible with the SW bars, but I think I'm just gonna try and rig something up out of expanded metal. We'll see how that works out. That'll probably be a later video if I end up trying to do that. I mean, it seems pretty sturdy. I mean, I can't dent it and I'm pretty strong. But yeah, those 1/2 inch spacers seem to work out pretty good, and the longer hardware. The hardware is, I went with a 2 inch 8 millimeter bolt, 1.25 thread pitch, and that seems to work out fine. With the issue I had with the shorter bolts was, so the clamp would sit on there and it wasn't long enough to thread in, so the hardware was sticking out at an angle when I tightened it up, and that sticks past the skid plate, a good 1/2 inch, 1/4 inch, which is giving you a lot. If you end up, excuse the dog, if you end up hitting anything, I mean, there's a chance they could just hit that bolt and shear it right off. So I don't know if you can see under there, but with the longer bolts, it fits nice and flush. I mean, you got a real slim chance of knocking your bolt head off. So that seemed to work out just fine.
How much was your hardware?
Oh, the hardware, spacers, I got them from Ace Hardware. They were about, I don't know, $1.25 each, and the bolts were 90 cents each. Pretty easy to find. Yeah, I mean, biggest thing is you want to make sure that the threads are the same. I mean, it's not worth screwing up your clamps on there. So 1.25 thread pitch, 8 millimeter bolt. But yeah, other than that, it seems to work out just fine. Any more questions, comments, concerns? If you want to yell at me, please don't. But I mean, if you got any issues with this video, let me know, bring it up in the comments. Yeah, that's about it. Goodbye.